If it's really on your path to be a guest on more podcasts, which I understand, then you really need to invest the time in doing that properly and listening to the podcast and knowing what their work is and stuff.
The secret of getting booked to be a guest on a podcast you want to be on is be a listener of that frickin' podcast first.
Yeah.
In a world where QR codes kill kittens and customer service is an oxymoron, UnPodcast has set out to make things right. This is the UnPodcast.
Be serious, Scott.
Well, the mics usually are cut, aren't they? During the intro? No, they're not. They're never cut during the intro. Hey, what's up, everybody? We don't. You know what I realized we don't have?
What don't we have? We have
like
everything.
The thing at the start or the end of usually at the end of shows. It's a thing is like wardrobe provided by.
Yeah, that's because no one provides our wardrobe.
Oh. It's one of the reasons you do a show, though, right? You just like wardrobe, and it's like, oh my God, did they just walk into the store and they're like, put clothes on? We don't have a.
No, we don't have.
Although I am wearing a hoodie from Unbound Merino. We can give them a shout out, though. A Toronto-based company.
Okay.
We dig them. Run by Dan, one of the original Twitter groups of in Toronto. Unbound Merino. Not sponsored by them at all. This is their hoodie. It's a travel hoodie. I wear them everywhere. Except this one, it's maroon. It's very
I like
fancy.
the maroon one.
Well, I do too. Hello, everybody. This is our second visit to the studio, B-Town Sound in Burlington.
Yeah, we're back.
Recording some more episodes. Now, this episode comes out. It won't come out until next week, but yesterday was also the Super Bowl. So look at your timing. Everything was crazy. And we've had some feedback from people. Happy the show's back. The 7 is excited.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool, actually. I think, I don't want to say, it sounds bad. Is it bad to say that I was surprised by how much positive feedback we have? In that I was happily surprised. It was lovely to get messages from everyone and hear that people were happy to hear us speaking.
Real nice to get.
We haven't talked in so long, so it's lovely.
Some people wrote and asked some stuff, so we're going to answer that in the episode. Because also after this one, next week's episode, if you are a listener, will be the live episode we'll have that we're going to be rocking and rolling with. Jeff Callister reached out and said, "Welcome back." Thank you, Jeff. I've missed the show. We missed it too. Curious to know if your take on QR codes still stands. And then he puts a laughing emoji. What's up? Why would you do that, man? I thought we were friends. But you just realized you just want to get me going. Okay, so listen to me.
It's a little baiting. It's a little bit of a bait.
It is.
Yes, but that's okay. We're here for it.
But I'm a master at these, so I'm going to go from here. Jeff and everybody else with QR codes. Yes, it only took a pandemic.
Was that what it was?
It only took a pandemic and iPhones to natively recognize QR codes in their camera.
I think that was really it.
Which was, if we rewind, one of the beefs Scott had 9 years ago with them.
Yeah.
Was you had to install a second app or a third-party app to view them. The funny thing about QR codes is that during a pandemic, when they become one of the things people talk about, because they're everywhere, and menus, and especially the menus, was one of the biggest pushers of QR codes, was menus at restaurants, was that when reporters want to find out the vibe, they start looking shit up on Google and say, who can we have to interview about QR codes? And when the first result is called QR codes kill kittens, the New York Times reaches out to you multiple times during a pandemic, which is how I was in the New York Times multiple times during the pandemic, was about QR codes.
Which is funny because...
So what does Scott feel about QR codes?
Because we wrote that book so... it also feels like... It's funny, with time and coming back to the show, because sometimes it feels like things that we talked about a long time ago are coming back. But also, the problems that we had with QR codes at the beginning.
Right.
If someone actually reads the book... which I think everyone should, then you'll see that some of the problems were about that sort of people rushing to include them to seem cutting edge, right? Because at the time when we were really rallying against them, they were the new cool marketing tool. And everyone was slapping them all over their stuff, even though they didn't work, even though no one's phone picked them up. And so...
Jeff, I don't want Jeff or anybody else getting it twisted here, okay? That I still have beef with QR codes.
Oh, 100%.
Greatly. Send me one in an email. See what happens. Send me one in an email, see what happens.
Ideally, send one in an email that leads to your website.
Oh, please, that's
his favorite.
Non-responsive design. That's not designed for a phone. That'd be great. So speaking of that, from popsci.com, researchers glued teeny tiny QR codes to 30,000 bees.
I just, haven't bees been through enough? Why are we putting QR codes on them? Does anyone know? Like, this...
Entomologists are gluing tiny QR codes on honeybees to better track the pollinators' travel habits and life cycles. In doing so, they hope to gain a more complete and accurate understanding of the environmentally crucial creatures which is needed to keep hives healthy and thriving. And now that their findings and methods are available in the open source journal Hardware X, the team hopes other conservationists can soon start on their own QR code-enabled insect observations.
Okay, wait. So, like, I don't know anything about honeybees, so I don't want to be a scientist here. But it sounds like what they're saying is they tag them, like, is this a new thing? Like, didn't they tag animal? Am I wrong to think that
Not
it's...
bees.
Bees. Yeah, no, I know that. But, like, haven't they tagged insects and birds and stuff with things before to track them? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never heard of maybe tracking insects though.
Maybe not insects.
Slapping a tracking an ankle monitor on a mosquito.
That's what it is. It's an ankle monitor.
He's gone out of the region. Get him!
But also I kind of want to see the data.
They live 14 minutes and it takes 22 minutes to put the QR code on them. Researchers ultimately settled on a custom scanner system placed above apiary hives using low-cost, off-the-shelf components such as Raspberry Pi computers and cameras. Then they used a natural shellac glue to attach paper QR code slips to each bee's back. Like scanning an ID card when you're entering a building, the system automatically detected and logged each bee's QR code as they flew to and from their home. In total, each setup cost approximately $1,500 per location.
So what did you do at work today? Well, honey, I was in the glue lab, gluing the QR codes to the bees.
And, I may have sniffed a bit.
Do you have to wear the big suits? Do you have to wear the big bees? I love those suits. Do you have to wear the big bee suits when you put the
QR codes?
I'm fascinated. I want to see the data. I'm into it. I think it's kind of cool.
That was one of the things as a kid. And I don't know if it was because of Sesame Street or Polka Dot Door or anything else, but as a beekeeper, that was like, looks like the coolest thing ever. And you had the big smoke pot, the big bong, whatever it was, the bee bong, and you had the smoke around them and calm them all down. It's just weed. I assume it's weed, right? They're just smoking. It's a one big hot box.
I just think it's cool. It's kind of neat.
Very cool.
I want to see the data. I also think that's a fun thing to do for your job, though. You're the QR code person.
You want a refrigerator or you want to go?
Yeah, no, let's talk about this. I think that
cool.
I thought this story was really funny because it's really related to the QR code situation, I think. Because one of the things we've also rallied against, like when I say the thing about that you could just put a link in the email, right? Like, so we try to solve problems that we don't have and then we create new problems. So this is a story. It's actually really, really recent. Okay, so Walgreens regrets replacing fridge doors with smart screens, creating techno-dystopia vibes. Yeah.
This is out of Gizmodo.
For real.
Right, Gizmodo, right?
Yeah, so from Gizmodo. So back in 2020, Walgreens entered into an agreement with a startup company to replace the glass doors in the company's refrigerators and freezers with a glitzy, shiny digital screen that would track customer shopping habits and display targeted advertising. Target advertising to juice revenue. I love the person who wrote this article. That's really great. But basically, they weren't working, right? Like they stopped working, and they were always sort of having problems with them. And so Walgreens wanted to pull out of the contract early because the screens weren't working. They were glitching in and out.
Yeah,
they were
you
going
can't
dark.
see in the fridge.
Yeah. And so they pulled out of the contract early, and then that left them basically with black screen doors, right? Because when you pull out of the contract, then
just a bunch of Microsoft blue error message windows for the entire store.
And it just seems like, and it says here, it seems like a good time to note that the absolute best scenario for these doors was that they would accurately display what appeared behind them. Like
a window?
I know, right? Like that's just revolutionary. So.
Like a window?
So
like
they're
a complete piece of glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like smart doors, except that it solved a problem that we didn't have, and it created a new problem because now the doors are glitchy, they don't work. And the solution is to open the door and look what's inside, which like I feel like we could have already done that.
So hang on. Let's do the pitch meeting.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to be Walgreens or do you want to be the tech company? You pick your choice.
I'll be Walgreens.
Yeah, we can do.
Sure.
Steph could be the person. Like if we want to throw no,
it's
absolutely
okay.
not.
No,
Steph
Steph's
is
not
doing
into it. I'll be Walgreens.
Steph's being the customer who's not coming to the store.
I really
that's
want
it.
my customers to buy more drinks, I guess.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, of course. What do you have? What do you have right now? What do you have? Where do you put your drinks?
We put them in a refrigerator with like a clear door, so you can see inside what the drinks are in there.
That's your problem. That's your problem.
Okay, what have you got as a solution?
Yeah, it's not compelling. These days, millennial Zeds need to do their thingy and be on their skateboards, and they just don't care about this glass. That's so boring.
Oh my gosh.
Do you go see glass somewhere? You don't go see glass. Nobody cares about glass, right? Picture me, I'm in a stained glass place or something like that. We have an idea. What if we came up with a technology that was not only overpriced, but hard to maintain?
Oh, fantastic. That's everything I wanted in a new technology.
But within this display window, it'll show everything behind the display window.
Oh, that's perfect.
Each will be $50,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's also like, it's not alone, as it often isn't, right? Like, so this misstep isn't the only misstep. You know, there have been a bunch of things they put, like deodorant and toothpaste, they lock those up.
Oh, that one too. The CEO. We had a story there somewhere about that, right? The CEO says people don't buy stuff when you lock them up as much.
And like toothpaste, like I'm pretty sure we want everyone to use toothpaste. I'm cool with toothpaste being readily available.
So one of the things when you get older, not you and I, and nobody in this room.
I'm waiting to hear it. What are one of the things about getting older?
Present company excluded.
Because my birthday is coming up, so he has to be careful.
Anybody listening. As some people get older.
Not me.
They try to still look cool.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
And these doors at Walgreens are Walgreens midlife crisis.
Gotcha.
They are the convertible of Walgreens. And they're like, this will make us look cool. And all it does is make them look like Steve Buscemi showing up at high school. Hello, fellow kids. You know, it's just like, it's not working. Stop trying to make these work. They're not going to work. Oh. Right? But you see them because I'm at these conferences. I'm at these trade shows, right? And they're just like, you remember when it was, these things to me are 3D TVs. Right? Or curved TVs.
I think I just think technology, like there's
you know what I mean?
Has
the technology,
to answer a why question,
which is one of my favorite things that you always say, right? It's like this is a problem that didn't exist. Like there was no need for this at all.
No.
And it's like here's second pitch. I got another idea.
Okay, I'm ready. Right? What is it?
What if we could take the joy of seat back TVs and airplanes that never work and never accurate, but turn them vertically. And make them windows, but they're not even translucent. They're opaque, and they don't work. So you can't see your Prime or whatever else you're trying to buy.
It's just like we spend so much money in business. Like I know we're making fun of it, but really, like we spend so much money in business trying to appear like something instead of actually solving problems. And I think that's a lot of money that is wasted that could have been spent on things. You know, like I'm in for self-cleaning doors. Like, do they have that yet? Self-cleaning is what I'm into.
Yeah. Maybe Walgreens can look at, paying their pharmacists more. That also would be a smart thing. But hey, let's not get into that. That's fine.
It's fine.
What
you got?
Let's get a little more feedback. Let's get a little more emails back from people. How about that? So we get a little
oh my.
A little messaggio.
I'm gonna sit back for this one and let him take it.
We get a little message in the emails. It says, "Hey Scott and Allison." That's nice. Very nice of you.
It wasn't really addressed to me, but all right.
Hey, Scott and Allison, can you get in touch with Scott?
Yeah, exactly.
Here it is. Ready? Everybody in the room right now, I want you to pretend you got this email, okay? And it's like about the show and everything. So you got this email, and it feels nice, right? When somebody writes to you and says, "Hey, that was bleep."
Don't swear.
When that was great. When that was great. When I reached out to everybody, I said I loved how the video looked at the last episodes, right? That feels nice, right? Like I feel it's a compliment. The compliments, in human beings feel nice. Yeah. We do work, and we do what we do. It's really nice to get some compliments. So we get this, and it says, "I caught wind of your latest episode where Scott discussed his new car habit and couldn't help but chuckle at the mention of braying, a made-up word that we do. Your lighthearted approach to business topics is refreshing and aligns perfectly with my philosophy of blending humor and leadership." And then he mentions what he's done. I'll leave it out.
Which we will not mention.
I'll leave it out for now.
Yeah, no, we're not mentioning it.
I believe I can bring a unique perspective to your podcast. After saying, let's chat about how I can contribute to a discussion about creating parallel and perhaps drawing parallels with your Amazon convenience store conversation. Best and the person's name.
Can we please stop using AI to write everything?
So I get this. I'm like, that's neat. So first of all, I love when people pitch to be a guest on the UnPodcast. The funny thing is multiple levels here. One, we don't have guests.
Not generally, no.
Two, on the contact form on marketing.com, the only two things it says is one, Scott doesn't speak for free at your event. Mm-hmm. And two, we don't have guests on the UnPodcast. As long as we have that understanding, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, for sure.
And the only things that gets reached out most of the time from those is people or their podcast guest booking service reaching out saying, we loved your show and we have a great guest for you.
No one wants to be on this show with us.
And then I reply back and I'm like, which episode did you listen to? So I then...
Well, we had to look it up first, right? Because the
reference... Here's the thing. So I asked my wife and I say...
I'm the wife. I'm right here. I'm right here.
And I say... And because when he brings this stuff up, the Amazon store, the car buying, the braying, I'm like, when was that?
What the heck is he talking about?
Like, I know I've got 4 brain cells left. I know. But I do not remember it.
I didn't remember braying at all.
So Allison looks it up. That's the episode right before COVID.
Yeah, so 5 years
ago. So 5 years ago, this guy is mentioning this article. And I'm thinking, you just took AI. It found that because everything mentioned in this email is in the description that James wrote.
It's the wording, like it's the fact that it's the
This is not how humans speak.
No, it's not how humans speak.
So, I'm your Huckleberry. I got time.
He's got nothing but time.
I got time. So I write back and said, hi, Vance. That's his name, by the way. It's only his first name.
Okay, no more than that.
It's Vance, by the way. He's allowed to say.
No more.
Is this message automated or AI? That's all I asked.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wrote back. I'm a real dude / guy / person. Cool, man. I wrote, got it. It's just that the episode you're referring to is 5 years ago, and we don't have guests, hence why I'm wondering if you actually listened. Here's the reply.
I appreciate that he gave an honest reply, actually.
My assistant listens, then sends out the requests. If I get a reply, I go back and listen to a couple of episodes to familiarize myself with the show. This is why I have her word the email, quote, I caught wind of an episode.
Because they wrote the email,
But if you don't have guests, the point is moot. And then he does which everybody does when I push back. They then find saying, hey, we both know these people on LinkedIn. That's cool. How do you know them? Trying to deflect away from the river of crap they're sliding down. Mm-hmm. And he says, anywho, won't take up any more of your time. It's so disingenuous.
Yeah. It's just a waste, guys. We don't have to.
And it's not even AI. And what we're talking about
I think it is.
all the time.
I don't think he has an assistant.
No, but by the way, agreed 100%. Oh, that was my assistant, wasn't me. Yeah. It's you. You're the assistant.
If he does, I feel kind of, yeah.
But it's not about AI or the assistant or anything. It's the intent.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. It's the intent, and behind it is you are manipulating emotions for personal gain.
My feeling is the same that I have about scheduling and a lot of things, is that it's very meaningful, I think, to reach out to people and want to be on their show or tell them that you like their stuff. It's very meaningful. Like, we all care about having these things said. Like, we do the work. We want to hear those things. It's just a matter of, like, all that has to happen is to actually watch it and actually believe it. Does that make sense? Or, like, if you're going to write that you really love someone's work, just read some of it. It's not that hard. Most of us have work that are online. You want to be on someone. It could have, if you would listen to the episode for a few minutes, you would have at least been able to speak about it authentically. That's all.
And if the assistant who does or doesn't exist, they didn't listen either. Because it's all from the description, and there was no guest.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
I've written back, I've done that multiple times to people. Like, one is like, hey, what's your favorite episode?
It's just, if it's so important to you, like if it's really on your path to be a guest on more podcasts, which I understand, then you really need to invest the time in doing that properly and listening to the podcast and knowing what their work is and stuff.
This is the secret. That's the secret of getting booked to be a guest on a podcast you want to be on, is be a listener of that frickin' podcast first.
Yeah.
To understand the show and understand that it would work. The problem is we have a people and all they are hammers and all they see are nails. You have a show, I should be on it. You're on a show, I should be on it. And they're just whack, whack, whack. And they're just like, this is what I need to be on.
I'm not sure he would have enjoyed being on the show.
That's what I mean. So Vance can come on the show.
I'm not sure he enjoys being on the show now.
I don't think he likes to be on the show right now. Because he wanted to be on the show. He's on the show now. It's not about how many podcasts I can get on.
Yeah.
It's which podcast can I get on that makes sense for me, that I can also give value to that show. Don't pitch a podcast about a book. Don't pitch a reporter about this type of stuff. Pitch them how you help them, how you add value. You know the people that we've ever had on the show? They're people with value. 3 people ever.
It just, and I think it's the same thing with writing comments. Like we talked about this, I think, in one of the recordings we've already done in the last session. Is that like comments on LinkedIn have become almost like unreadable because it's not real people writing. And I think if it's really important to you to generate if it's really important to you to be someplace, then do the work that, is needed to be there.
Got it. So, by the way, this entire episode wasn't Allison and I. It was our assistants, which is why we worded it that way. We caught wind that this episode was fun, but it was. We got to go because we got a live episode we got to record next, and the time is coming.
Great energy.
Because you heard the little alarm in the background. Take care. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and visit theunpodcast.com. And remember, friends don't let friends use QR codes.